And with us right now, we've got Gautam Ijoor. And Gautam, we met at the Inc. 5000 conference. You are the president and chief operating officer at Alpha Omega Integration. Thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome, Josh. Thank you for having me.
So we'll start off by talking about what Alpha Omega does, and then we'll get into what are you doing that's allowed you to grow so quickly.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So tell me what Alpha Omega does, please.
So there are two things that we do better than anybody else that we specialize in. One is application development, application modernization using low code, no code, and open source tools. And the second area is cloud engineering, and we implement clouds with different vendors, Google, AWS, and Microsoft, and we provide high-end cloud engineering services and high-performance computing. Those are the two areas that we specialize in.
Just to give people an idea of who you serve, now you're outside of DC, so let me just name a couple of the clients a few clients that you've worked with, and I'll see if these sound familiar. The Department of Treasury, the Department of Defense, Department of State, Department of Justice, the Department of the Navy, my favorite, the U.S. Intelligence Community, the SBA, HUD, Health and Human Services, and then you also have commercial and nonprofit customers as well, American Institute of Architects, Horace Mann. So how are you getting all this business? What are you doing that your competitors are they just sitting on their hands, or what are they doing?
So, Josh, there are two things or two areas where I think where we are different from companies in this business. It's a competitive landscape, and there are two things that distinguish us. Firstly, unlike most other small businesses, we have an exclusive merger and acquisition team that constantly look for companies to acquire, constantly research the synergy that you can capitalize on, and thirdly, the areas in which we think the market grows at a faster rate, right? And so this really helps us kind of stay ahead of a game and to continuously grow. The second area is within the company. Unlike many other companies, we have something called a disruptive innovation group. And as the name sounds, most people would think it's us investing on something that may not be productive, but being an entrepreneur, you want to take risks. This group looks at all our statement of work and works and talks about how they could do it in a better, innovative way, and resulting in savings to the bottom line. So think about this. If you have a $3 million contract and it's a sole source, and let's just say it's a help desk, and you implement an artificial intelligence, robotics process automation, and reduce the help desk staff by 50%, you save almost $1 million in labor costs, which directly hits your bottom line.
Yeah, I would imagine the government contracting world, that's pretty attractive if you can come in with a price that represents that savings.
Absolutely. And if you provide those savings, when you have a fixed price contract, you just pocketing that money and reinvesting it into the company.
Wow. Now, one thing you had mentioned was growth through mergers and acquisitions. And so what does, in terms of what Alpha Omega looks for, what to you represents an attractive company to merge with or acquire?
One of the biggest challenges companies have in the federal contracting space is they either know how to grow the business, or they either know how to win work, or they don't. The companies that know how to win work sometimes don't know how to retain the work that they've already won. The quality about our client services is we have exceptional customer intimacy because we work on identifying value to our customers, and we implement that value and continuously increase that customer intimacy. Now, when you look at a company that's growing fast, but they're also losing business fast, the sprint versus Nextel syndrome, then those are the type of companies we acquire and implement our processes to improve customer intimacy, and thereby start retaining their base and capitalize on synergy. So we look for companies that are growing quickly, that are also losing their recompetes.
Because they are smaller and they may not have the resources that, if combined together, you could provide those resources, helping them keep their costs, their internal costs down, so that they can fulfill the contract. And I would imagine then ultimately when they're up for, that contract is up again, now they can come with even a potentially even better offer because of the new strength through unity now with with the larger infrastructure that Alpha Omega provides. Something like that.
Very, very close, but we also look at large businesses or businesses that are larger than us, and if we see that they are growing, because they have a great sales team, but they're not very good with client services or project delivery, that's an ideal target, because once we go in, our secret sauce is how we deliver and satisfy our customers. Now, I go into somebody who's growing quickly, and I'm able to really build a relationship and develop customer intimacy with their existing contracts. Then I can grow at a faster rate.
So Gautam, are a lot of the services that you provide, is it labor intensive? So you're looking then to staff out to provide the solutions, so therefore, it sounds like you have some good resources to labor that would be much more cost efficient than maybe having a network operator or a data center domestically. Is that what you do?
Absolutely. See, all our work is extremely, extremely labor intensive. So being in the services space, but our forte is with providing intelligent automation. And I use the word intelligent automation. When you bring the two together, what happens is you win a contract which is labor intensive, and you reduce the labor that is required, or we don't let anybody go. We actually train them and move them on to something else. So what happens is, while we train and move the employees, we automate a lot of the work that's required. So when we end that contract, we actually end it with almost 20-30% reduction in labor because of the efficiencies and information technology we've used.
My goodness. So what would be, in the cases of some of your clients that you've been able to serve, what are these, what's the solution then that they are putting out to bid, that they're looking for? What would be some specific examples or applications?
Great question, Josh. And actually, I can give you a very good example. So, the Small Business Administration, for example, has a 7A loan program, right? We support the 7A loan program. It has a 40%, 40 seat help desk. This 40 seat help desk, basically, we inherited it through an acquisition 3 years ago. In the last 3 years, we implemented something called RPC, or Robotics Process Automation, and the tool that we implemented there automatically replaces human interaction with bots or robots, which is bots are short for robots. And these bots, chat with you, they learn from their interaction, and they give you the answers that you need, and so on and so forth. So we were gradually able to reduce the staff on the help desk by about 50%. So the next time we wanted to recompete, our cost was almost 10 million lower than the next competitor, which put us in the first place to win that contract.
Wow. You know, the SBA is such a great organization. I'm grateful that you have the opportunity to work with them. And, it's great to see that, and I think what people need to understand is when the SBA has more efficient ways of providing solutions, they can in turn provide both a better quality of service. They can serve their clients better, the small businesses that rely upon them.
Right.
And then as well, obviously they don't need to drain taxpayers as much if they could be more efficient. So, I mean, everybody
Absolutely.
ought to be celebrating the impact that you and Alpha Omega are having.
Thank you. Yes, absolutely, Josh. I mean, giving back to this country that's given us an opportunity is the most important thing that drives us every day. And there's no better way in giving back, to this nation. Then developing a passion for agency missions and implementing it in an honest, ethical way.
Yeah. Well, as the recipient and beneficiary of an SBA loan that really helped us grow and scale our business, I'm
Wow.
just
Yeah.
thrilled for that. Do you now? A one-word answer is fine. Something like this,
Sure.
because you get to work with, Department of Intelligence and some of these other ones. Does this mean that then you have issues in regards to security clearances, or is that a concern?
Yeah, no, all of us are TS cleared. The facility also has a TS clearance. We have work we have IDIQs in the Intel space and work in the Department of Defense, and these clearances help us work in these agencies without a problem.
Gautam, one other question I had was do you take advantage of, or can you take advantage of set aside? So as someone who's looked at a little bit into government contracting, as a military veteran who also has a disability, although it's still working with the VA on getting that connected. But that's one thing that, we would pursue more government contracting if we did qualify for the set-asides. What's your current view of the government contracting world in terms of companies that qualify for those set-asides? Is that a major advantage?
Not really, Josh. I mean, people think that when you qualify for a set aside and you actually we are 8A certified. But a lot of people think having these certifications, socioeconomic certifications, that you could just sit and wait for work to come to you. They are absolutely wrong. I think you have to compete more in this competitive landscape. You have to realize and provide a unique value to your customers. Otherwise, your business will not grow, and if it does, it will start shrinking if you don't continuously think about adding value to your customers.
Beyond just being the lowest bidder or having the most attractive bid, what about, are there any other factors that you see that go into a decision-making process? For example, what I'm primarily curious about is the due diligence that say Department of Defense or Treasury would do on the provider themselves. And so if that's the case, what are the things that they look for? I mean, are they searching you out on social media, looking for opinions, trying to, is it at that level?
Yeah. Besides price, there are 4 other things that almost always get into this due diligence or background checks that go on a procurement. They ask you for a technical solution, which requires you to understand their requirements, requires you to understand the challenges, requires you to understand the problems they are facing, and so on and so forth. so forth. The second is past performance. They would like you to provide past performances. Usually it's 3 or 5 that are of similar size, scope, and complexity to the work that they're asking you to do. Then they have also a CPARS, government-wide system. It's also available in the defense side. These systems basically have a contractor rating on every contract you've provided to the federal government, and they could look at this to find out how well you worked out or did not work out and use that in the decision-making process. The last 2 items are with key personnel. I mean, what are the key personnel you propose, and the management approach? How do you plan to manage your contract? These are the 4 things that go into every evaluation.
Yeah. Does it matter if, and I wonder this just from a consumer standpoint, because one thing that I believe is, at the end of the day, everyone's a consumer. And so we're making consumer decisions as left brain as we try to be in something like awarding a contract. Yeah. I think a lot of times at the end of the day, there's these right brain things that say, I know these guys look better on paper, but these other guys, I just have a better feeling about them. The intangibles, maybe it's the branding, maybe it's the authority that they appear to have, when someone does a little bit of investigating into the contractor. Any impressions on that?
Branding is an important thing that a lot of small businesses in the federal contracting space do not implement.
I know. I've seen the websites. They're pretty awful.
The left brain, consumer dynamics is very prevalent. Kind of getting your name out there. Giving back to communities, that are associated with agencies, having your people, kind of contribute to the technical community in terms of white papers or in terms of social media posts. All that is very important. The engagement that works to build your brand is so critical when people make buying decisions. So many federal employees and procurement decision makers are online on LinkedIn and some other social media sites, and they interact with you when you contribute to the community that gives you value. Social media sites shouldn't be used as a news or press release instrument. It should be used to kind of to give back to the community in terms of technical innovations or technical thought leadership. And then when you do that, that really solidifies your brand.
Gautam, I like your approach. I can see why that's Alpha Omega is experiencing the growth that you are. It's more of a stewardship approach and stewardship both for the community and ultimately, I love your dedication to disruptive technology in saying, what are some ways that we can solve this problem better than anybody else, more cost efficiently? And you know what? If we don't make as much money on it, it's okay, because we believe that we're making the world a better place by improving these systems.
Thank you. We totally appreciate you putting it into words. That's exactly how we feel.
All right. Well, Gautam Ijoor, you are you're the president at Alpha Omega Integration. You're on the web at alphaomegaintegration.com. Congratulations on being on the Inc. 5000 as well. And thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Josh. I really appreciate you taking the time.